Ladies and gents, we are back, and it's time to move on to the NBA. As Bob Myers says that the Warriors won't make any drastic decisions after a 4-7 start. Is it too early to panic about the Warriors' poor start? And I want your boy to start. Let's get right to it because I think the Warriors for me this year, what has gone wrong that a lot of people won't talk about, they'll probably talk about Steph Curry looking old, even though he's not playing old, right? I'm there talk about the core being older and obviously the wear and tear that goes on when you play, extensive amount of basketball games all through the playoffs into the finals. And I get all those sides. But I think the most important thing for me is the veteran leadership and the veteran core that they lost off that bench with Otto Porter Jr. and Gary Payton III. Because when you talk about what they were able to do, those are guys that fit their style of play. And they're guys that are veterans that are able to read and react to the game. When you have young guys, they sometimes stand there like they look lost, like they sightseeing. Those were guys that were able to react to anything that was going on and just be a complementary piece to the Warrior style of play. And now you lose those guys that were, I believe, above 30 years old, 29 and above. And now you replace them with guys that are 21 years and younger than that. And now the inexperience is showing dividends, is showing face. And when you look at James Wiseman, a wise man once told me that you cannot contend and try to, develop at the same time. It's a hard thing to do. When you're in full tanking mode, it's easy to focus on player development because you're tanking. You could afford to play them a large amount of minutes to get the development going. But when you are competing for a championship, then you lack patience with the development. I mean, we talked about the Packers earlier and how wide receivers are not adapting to the system. And that's because they want to compete, right? And they want them to get going and catch the ball with Aaron Rodgers so they can compete. But they should be focused on player development. It's the same thing with the Warriors. And it was showed face when you look at the last game against the Kings. Wiseman barely played. Wiseman, Kuminga, and that young core right there, and Mooney, combined, they only played 18 minutes combined. Okay, that shows that Steve Kerr is not really trusting them right now, and that's not going to help their development going forward. So that's the kind of bind that the Warriors are in right now. It's the fact that they want to get the most out of Curry's career that's left, right? They won a championship last year. They want to win another one. But the problem is their young core is not ready for prime time, and these guys are getting older. And that's why, and I end here, that's why it's imperative for guys like Jordan Poole, who's, I believe, shooting 30% from three-point line right now. It's imperative for him to be that spark off the bench. It's imperative for Klay Thompson to get his legs back as quickly as possible so Curry doesn't have to drop 40 to bail you out of a Kings game. Bill Shadamas on the mic.
I agree with you, but for the different reasons. I don't think it's because of their offense. I think it's because their defense. They're not defending at all. And I think having young guys there, you expect a certain amount of hustle, a certain amount of, they make some foolish fouls here and there, but they're hustling, they're being gritty. And that's something that we're not seeing in this Warriors young core. I think winning that championship hindered them because they feel like they've already accomplished what they needed to, so they don't work hard anymore. We've seen that in many cases where people win championships or people get a big contract, they stop playing as hard, they stop doing what they were doing before to be that player that they need to win football, basketball games. I don't know why I said three different sports, basketball games. So it's something that this Warriors team is doing. I think maybe it is time to panic a little bit because they're 4-7. The teams they lost to, I'm not gonna list all of them, but they lost to the Pistons, they lost to the Magics, I believe. And those two teams you can't be losing to it as a Warriors basketball team. That makes no sense. You're giving up 120 points per game as a Warriors team that prided themselves on defense majority of their stint as a dynasty, as winning championships. They pride themselves on defense. And where's the defense coming from? Klay Thompson's not defending good. Draymond Green is not defending good. Kuminga comes in the game who's supposed to be a two-way player. He's not defending good. He's not doing anything good. Actually, if I'm going to be completely honest, Jordan Poole is a shooter. He's going to make some, he's going to miss some, but he was never a defender. There should be no reason why he's playing an extensive amount of minutes throughout the season where he doesn't play defense at all. The offense is not the issue. I think that third in points scored per game as an offense. So the offense is fine. It's about getting stops. You can't have teams scoring more than 110 points on you as a Golden State Warriors team. That's disrespectful, to say the least. Maybe guys like Otto Porter Jr., Gary Payne III, Damian Lee at some points, guys who were coming off the bench playing two-way and being able to just completely attack on both sides of the floor, being aggressive defensively to make sure the guys are off their rhythm. That's something that they're missing and they need, because right now they don't have it. Guys are just not playing the defense that they need, and maybe it is time to just start looking elsewhere to find pieces that can be complementary to Stephen Curry, because Stephen Curry's having an amazing season. He's playing lights out. You need guys who's going to be able to defend to make sure that he's able to keep that longevity of just playing good throughout the duration of the season. One last thing, I think James Wiseman is one of the laziest players I've seen in a Warriors uniform. The guy doesn't want to set screens. He just wants the basketball and score. He doesn't care about playing defense. He don't care about getting under people's jersey or being aggressive. All he wants to do is get the ball in the post and score baskets. And that's not who you are. First of all, on a Stephon Curry team, that's not your role. You set the screen for him and make sure he gets open, and then he'll find you eventually. You don't just out there just talking about, I want the ball, give me the rock. You earn no stripes on this Golden State Warriors team yet. You've been hurt the whole last year when you won the ring. So you didn't even help or assist with winning a championship. You need to show grit and grind before you just over here, let me get the rock. I can score in the paint. I got a mismatch. That's not your game, young fella. These guys need to stop being coddled. They have to stop feeling entitled to just getting star treatment when that's not who you are.
Now, I would say this. I think if you're the Warriors, I'm not sure if there's really a quick fix, because you could probably make some moves to get veterans out there that can help you on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Warriors already made the decision that they are investing into offense. I mean, they did with Jordan Poole when they gave him that $140 million max contract, that they are investing in offense and youth. And that's probably going to come at the expense of one guy who actually helps out on defense, and that's Draymond Green, right? And what he does on both sides and what he can offer you. And that's why, if you're the Warriors, it was always going to be a tough decision. Your championship window have extended, and the Warriors were lucky in the sense that after their first dynasty, they was able to bottom out, get a lottery pick, and prolong a dynasty a few extra years. It should have been over, but luck kind of played itself in. And I'm not talking about luck on the field, on the court, even though you can argue the playoff matches that they played last year. I mean, a little bit, but I'm not going to slight the Warriors like that. But I'm talking about luck from developing your franchise. Even though I always said that they should have went after LaMelo Ball instead of James Wiseman at the time. But, I understood that they didn't want to change their outlook, after the Klay Thompson injury and what they was going to do. But they already invested into the offense. So it's like you got Wiggins. He's under a contract. You got Jordan Poole, who you just extended as well. You extended both of them. Now you're probably going to lose Draymond Green. Now, if you lose Draymond Green, and the reason why I say so is because I'm not sure if he's willing to take a friendly discount, to remain in Golden State. Yeah, you have decisions to make. Do you trade the guy, right? Does it even make sense to trade him at this point when you know what you need from him, right? That's why, to answer the question, because I don't even believe I actually fully answered the question, I do think if you're the Warriors fans, you should start panicking right now, because right now you are in the bond and you at a crossroads right now.
It's like I said, I think all the points you're making is absolutely correct with this team. The team is not playing deep. The team is not scoring. They're scoring the ball well, right? It's not about offense for me, because they're scoring the ball well. For me, it's about the defense, right? They were third in points scored allowed last year in the NBA. This year, they're 29th. That is a huge drop off on what the hell's going on his offense, his defense outside of the basketball. In a Western Conference where everyone's able to score, everyone's able to get points on you. It's about who's able to create stops, who's able to stop guys from scoring. Remember, Wiggins was one of the biggest defenders for the team last year. And where is he at defensively? He's not doing anything. Him, Klay, Dre, they're not doing anything. And my name is Zay. They're not doing anything. I think it's getting ridiculous.
It's also the drive and the hunger. I mean, they won a championship. They fresh off. Some of that is, championship parades and I mean, look, we saw the videos, man. Andrew Wiggins looked shocked. He looked smacked out there. It's like, that's a real thing. That championship, we start up slow because it happened to my Buccaneers in the NFL last year. It happened to the Rams this year. It's a real thing in any sport. And I think some of that is that. Some of that is, the core getting older. And some of that a lot of that, in my honest opinion, is the guys who they lost off the bench, not only for offensive purposes. Gary Payton was their one perimeter defender that could stop a Ja Morant in the playoffs, right? When he got hurt, we saw how that affected the team and how they couldn't wait to have him back for the finals. So it's a combination of things. I can't pinpoint one thing and say this is why. It's strictly defense. It's strictly that. It's a lot of things. There's a bevy of things on why the Warriors are 4-7 right now.
You know, I think one way they could turn around, and they're going to turn around. I don't think they're going to stay as a bottom seed in the Western Conference, but it's just about creating stops. I'm remembering what their identity was when they first started their stint, when they first started their dynasty. It's about playing defense first and then getting Steph Curry the ball second. I think they're starting to reverse it. They're trying to get the offense flowing. They're trying to get the shooters the ball first and then play defense afterwards. Because it seems like when the three-pointers are not falling, they're also not playing defense. The only way they play defense is if they're scoring the basketball, and that's not how it should go. You have to you have to be a defensive-minded team first. Make sure that you are limiting what they're capable of doing, and then the buckets are going to come later in the season because you're going to be more informed. You're going to be able to hit those tough shots, those difficult shots as a team, not just one person, but as a team. As Clay gets hot later, as Jordan Poole gets hot during the season, as Andrew Wiggins gets his shot going and falling throughout the season, even though he's shooting good this year. You have to be defensive minded first. You have to be able to cause turnovers, get the ball in your best players' hands at all times, but also removing the ball from their best players' hands at all times. That's the Warriors' defensive mindset. And right now, they're just not playing that kind of mindset that won them 4 rings. They're playing like a team that's looking to just hang out.
I mean, when you get older, it impacts your defense. Most guys, when they get older, they don't want to play defense. That's where the Iggies of the world, if he's able to come back, what he can offer you from that side of the ball defensively. I mean, they need all the little components from a defensive standpoint to help him out, because Klay Thompson, coming off of that injury, he's not going to be the same on that side of the ball. I'm not saying that offensively he's never going to get back. I think he'll get back to a certain extent, right, to where he was before. Offensively, defensively, it's going to take a hit. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, the Warriors just got to do a better job. Draymond Green, I think when you talk about Draymond, and one of the reasons why this situation, and before we close, is a little bit more intriguing, is because he can help you out in a lot of ways, and losing him is only going to gut the team out even more. But at the same time, we saw from an offensive standpoint, his numbers decline every single year to the point where he got benched in the finals, game 4, in a pivotal moment in the finals. You bench one of your starters, one of your best players. So the Warriors, like I said, I'm not panicking in the sense that I believe they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, come on, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be right up there in the middle pack, probably top pack still. You still got Steph. But the reason why I'm panicking is because I don't really see the championship, the finals, as a realistic expectation anymore.
You know, I think this is my last take, and maybe it's that time for Steve Kerr to look beyond. You know, if the season goes where I hope it doesn't go, but if it winds up being this case where they're losing, having long stints of losing, you know, even if you move on from Draymond, that doesn't cure what's going to happen with this team, because then you lose a leader in the locker room. You know, Steve Kerr needs to just be like, all right, you know, we had our run. But right now it's not it, because we're not clearly devoted into my system. You know, it is the system that won us chips, the system that won us things we're not devoted to. So maybe it's that time to.
And it happens all the time. You know, most teams, when they win championships or a championship, they can't bring everybody back. They can't pay everybody back. Guys start feeling themselves. They want their money elsewhere, and that's how the team gets out, right? The Warriors been doing what they've been doing the last couple of years. And like I said, some of it has been luck. Some of it has been they're a really, really good team with a good coach that's probably underrated, because a lot of people think it's Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Steve Kerr is a good coach, right? He makes the necessary adjustments that he needs to make, right? But still, it's like at some point, this was going to happen. Money's going to have to be dished out, and you have to decide accurately. This is the guy I'm bringing back, and this is why. This is the guy I'm not bringing back, and this is why. Oh, I need everybody back. I can't bring everybody back. What do I need the most? What could I use the most? It was out of the fountain of youth, or it was the leadership. And they chose the fountain of youth, and they chose the offense and investing into that. And unfortunately, either way, they were probably going to be doomed. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after the break for our final topic on 99 Pod. You don't want to miss it.